Today is World Otter Day, so let's talk about some otter Pokemon ecology. Our first otter Pokemon, which I assume most of you are here for, is going to be Oshawott. Oshawott is basically a more terrestrial version of a modern day sea otter. You know, they've got like these pretty large heads, these big thick bodies, they float around, they smack open shells with rocks, and they're adorable. Oshawott has this bipedal stance and seems a little bit better on land. Like, sea otters basically never go on land unless they're hauling their babies up onto like a dock or they're in a zoo. It's also interesting to note that the scowl chops, or whatever they call this, like, Oshawott's born with this. It doesn't find it, which like modern day sea otters, you know, dive down, find rocks to bust open clams. They aren't just born with them on their chest. And this thing also has a beaver-like tail to help propel it in the water. And it's flattened dorso-ventrally, which means top to bottom, which is different than modern otters. Moving on to Duat, this is a little bit more closer to like river otters. Its body is a little bit stretched out, a little more streamlined. It's still got this like dorso-ventrally flattened beaver tail, so this is kind of a mixture between the two types of otters. And then finally we have Samurott, which is definitely not an otter, and this is more like a sea lion. Otters are in the order Carnivora as well as sea lions, and this is a cladogram that shows the relationship between the two. So otters are in family Mustelidae, so this is things like weasels and badgers, and otters, you know, like really long things that are predators. And then you get sea lions over here with seals and walruses. So they're actually pretty closely related, so making the jump from otter to sea lion like makes sense, especially like in the Pokemon world where they love to jump between different orders and families for evolutions. And you can see they're only separated from Mustelidae, and then we're looking at like Otaridae and Phocidae. They're only separated by about a little over, what does that say? Over 34 million years. Next we have Buizel, which seems more like a weasel that has converged onto an otter's lifestyle. Like really, this thing kind of looks more like a river otter than like Oshawott and Duat does. But like, it's also, its name is Buizel, it's not Buotter, which like I just found out how to pronounce this like last year. And it's got like these secondary adaptations for living an aquatic lifestyle. So like maybe it evolved into a weasel form and then went back to the water and evolved this flotation ring and these like fins. Same thing with Floatzel. Like this thing almost seems like it should be a fox or something. It's got this really large body, large head, these really big tails that really don't seem like they're good at swimming, except they can turn into a propeller probably. But once again, otters are really closely related to weasels. They're like the sister taxon, so it's not too big of a jump to assume that those are closely related.